Hi everybody, welcome back to Clever Melon. Today we are covering our third episode of our Introduction to Business series, and we're going to be looking at the factors of production. So, the factors of production. Have you ever noticed that some countries tend to be wealthier than other countries? Well, this is something that economists have actually noticed as well and have been studying for a number of years. And they've determined that there is things called the factors of production, which are factors that actually determine whether a country is going to be more wealthier than another, or at least have an impact on the wealth of that country. What are our factors of production? Well, we have 5. First is land, second is labor, the third is capital, the fourth is entrepreneurship, and the fifth is knowledge. Now let's look at land. So when we're looking at land, we're normally talking about things like real estate, like buildings. Or we're talking about natural resources such as coal or oil. And what we do is we use land to actually enable us to create or produce products and services. What's interesting about land is that its importance varies depending on the type of company that you have. For instance, if you're a farmer, you're really going to be relying on your land, like your physical natural land, because that's where you're going to get all your produce from and where you're going to get your crops from. But if you're, for example, a tech company, you might be more focused on working remote. That is something that has been happening a lot, and it's been reducing a lot of overhead for companies who are now moving more to that virtual environment than actually having a physical location when they actually come together to work, and rather just work over the internet. When we talk about labor, we're also talking about a thing called human capital. And the reason why it's called human capital is because your business is actually investing in people and making those people better at their jobs, giving them the skills they need, the knowledge they need, and the training they need in order to do their jobs better. Therefore, they become an investment for a company, and that's why we call them human capital, because they're actually becoming part of the company's investment. And what's even more interesting about it is that the importance of human capital varies depending on the type of business you run as well. So if you are perhaps a tech company, you might have one person who's doing now the work of at least 10 people because it's able to do that because of the impact that technology has actually allowed us to. We've been able to now perform tasks and process tasks and to understand data much more quicker than we used to be able to do with 10 people. So that's why you might have somebody who's now more specialized in one area and is able to do the work of 10 people instead of just one. And in other industries, we might be sitting with the fact that, like, for example, we go back to our farming industry. They might require more actual hands-on labor because of the different requirements for the operations. You need to be able to take care of the livestock. You need to be able to take care of your crop yields. You need to be able to do different types of things on the farm in order to maintain the farm. And that requires a lot of hard and menial labor. And that's why it's different per different type of business model. When we talk about capital, we're not talking about the monetary capital that you use to actually invest in a company or to actually keep the company going. We're talking more about the different types of resources that we use to actually run that company. For example, the equipment, the tools, the different types of buildings that we need, the different types of technology that you need in order to actually make everything work. So basically, it's all about the resources, not about the monetary terms. But the capital in monetary terms is used to actually purchase our factors of production when it comes to this type of capital. And that's how that fits in. Now, when we look at entrepreneurship is basically somebody who goes and creates and starts a business and owns that business based off a concept or idea that they have. And the factors of production wouldn't exist or be useful if we didn't have these type of people who take that risk to actually go and create and start a business and use these factors of production in order to operate and to actually practice. So that is really how that fits into our factors of production. And entrepreneurship really affects an economy. So if you don't have an entrepreneurship, you are actually running an economy that might not be advancing as quick enough or is not having enough innovation, because you need those type of people to be able to create different ideas and concepts and different products and services that actually help fuel your economy and build up your whole nation, basically. Now, because of the advancements in technology, knowledge is changing in how we actually view knowledge. So in the past, we used to be more reliant on manual knowledge or practical knowledge and other types of knowledge like that. And that's why we've got these things called knowledge societies, or you might have also heard the term knowledge economies. And basically, a knowledge society is one where we're seeing that labor is moving away from manual work, and we're focusing more on information processing and focusing on how technology is enabling us to be able to do that. So it's basically requiring us now to change how we educate our societies and how we actually are looking now for more specialized jobs in specific knowledge-based areas or technology areas. And you can read more about this. I've actually got a blog post on this on LinkedIn, and I'll link that into the description. And you can actually go read more on this. It's very interesting to know how a knowledge economy is actually changing and how it's impacting different types of countries across the world, because this is something that's not just like a national thing, it's a worldwide thing. The US is actually a knowledge society. And that is very interesting to see how this is impacting us, for example, in the job market. We see that a lot of jobs now are moving to a remote lifestyle. And if you can't be flexible in your work, that means that you're not being able to adapt quick enough. And what are the implications of that? That requires knowledge in order to be able to work in a remote lifestyle. It takes a different type of skill base. And it's very interesting to see how our skills are moving from a manual or physical labor more to a knowledge type of labor. And that's it for today. Thank you for joining me for this lesson. Next week, we're going to be covering economics and how that influences business and how they work together. And this is where the factors of production are actually going to play an important role, as well as our previous lesson on the business environments. So I hope to see you all there. Bye!